Welcome to another episode of Thinking Deeper. Today, my guest is a multifaceted powerhouse. Big words, but she's a big personality. She embodies this raw fusion of athletic dynamism alongside this soulful music ability that she has. She has this unique way of connecting with her audience, touching their souls and their hearts through raw emotion. On the flip side, she's also very competitive, fierce and tenacious. She is no other than Chelcee Grimes.
I didn't know who you're talking about.
It was you.
That was a nice intro.
Thank you very much. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So this is your first experience with a singing bowl.
It is.
And for those that don't know about our unique format that is our podcast on Thinking Deeper, we use this ancient instrument. Now, this is a singing bowl that basically holds its presence in our space. It aligns the energies between myself and Chelcee to have a very open and honest conversation. Allows us to stay present. It's a really good reminder of us knowing that we have to be centered, focused, and present in the moment with no other distraction, even though there may be crew members around us. It just allows us to be in that space and in that moment. So now all that's left is for me to invite you, the listeners and the viewers, to share this journey with us. My hope and intention is that you actually get just as much out of it as I know I will, because she's amazing. And I hope that you can grow, absorb and reflect on some of the life lessons that Chelcee is going to share with us today. So Chelcee, thank you so much again for being here.
Thank you.
Shall we do the honours and take the first piece of paper?
We can, but just before we do, it's crazy because I've never experienced that before. I mean, I've watched videos on it and stuff, but to be in the room and hear the sonics and the frequency, that it's almost, I'm not emotional, but it definitely triggered something in me. And for me, obviously I make music every day. I'm in studios 5 times a week since I've been 18, and I've never instantly, just, it's not a chord what I'm used to. It's just that was amazing. So
wow,
I'll go from there on that and say superpower.
So I called you multifaceted at the very beginning. And for me, I've seen you absolutely thrive in so many different disciplines, whether it be music, whether it be sport, presenting. All of them have very different needs. And you have to have you've got to be very talented to be able to do that. What would you say, though, is your superpower?
You know, it's funny. As soon as I pulled that then straight away, superpower for me, it's changed that word for me. I don't want to talk too much into it, but I got diagnosed with ADHD, and it was only last year that this word kept popping up to me. It has become a superpower to me. I think, doctors, when they were diagnosing me and I was going through it all, they were talking about medication and it was all this, but, I was having a conversation with my family, and I figured out, not many people are in my position who have unlimited amount of jobs. I don't, when people ask me at a bar, what you do, I don't know which one to start with, and that's not being
that's big-headed.
I just don't, one day I am a footballer and I'm doing a sports campaign, the next day I'm writing a song with Dua Lipa, the next day I'm presenting on BBC. I just go where I feel good, and that is part of my ADHD that I realised I can't keep still, whether that's physically, emotionally, career-wise. I'm all over the place, but it is my superpower, and it's what's made me multifaceted. I don't, if I was leveling out like this every day, I'd be sure happy with one of them things.
Yeah.
But for me, it is, and it gets me up in the morning, and it keeps me ticking over, and it has become my superpower, my ADHD. I also think, being in music, being in football, I played football from the age of 9. I signed for Liverpool Ladies at 9, which is crazy because I'm not 9 anymore. But, I remember all the way up, and we're talking, I just turned 31. So back then, it wasn't women's football as we see now. It was, you're lucky if you got a pair of socks from the club as a woman. You were mismatched kit. You were playing in boys' kits from 8 years ago. And I'd done that for a good 8-9 years with no money at all. And I was seeing boys who were new, who'd signed for Liverpool at 10, 11 on a retainer, on a wage. So when I turned 17... and I was going into the first team.
What kept you going though at that point?
It was, what it was? It was having a safe space and girls exactly like me. I talk about it a lot.
But what made you go into football? Because as you say, it wasn't really a popular thing that girls did back then.
It wasn't, no.
Why football in particular? Why didn't you start recognising your music ability at that point?
I could not tell you. It's something that, again, I'm very close with my mum, and we speak about it a lot and laugh and just say, oh, you know, what was it that got you into music? People ask me. I honestly...
Because you don't come from a background of football, do you?
I don't. No football, no musicians, nothing, no entertainment, literally working class family.
Basically.
No, just, you know, but again, I think, where did I get the audacity from to think I'm going to be a footballer when I couldn't see it on the TV, really? There was no one like me. And then I leave at 17 and go, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go in the second most difficult industry, music. Like, never knew a clue, couldn't play a chord, didn't even know if I could really sing. That's the closest thing that I felt to scoring a goal. It was like, I took music GCSE, if I'm really honest, just because if you took music, you got to use the music room, and when it was raining outside, as in, I live in Liverpool, it rains a lot, you got to sit in the music room. I thought, piece of piss, like, that'll be my sit-off lesson. But I really got into it. My music teacher used to say on the weekend, go and write a chorus, try and come up with a little chord progression. And I used to live by it. Like, I'd get in and my mates would be like, are you coming out? No one's doing that. And I loved it. I just took to it.
Do you think
like
there was an element of your ADHD that had kicked in by then anyway, and
100%.
This was a way of you fueling that, but you just didn't know at the time?
Even when I got my diagnosis.
Because how were you feeling around those times for you to think you needed to do something like football or music?
It was just something to keep me energy output for me. When I was writing a record, when I was running on the pitch, I wasn't keeping still. You know, when I did get my diagnosis, the doctor said, what you do to like relax? And I was like, play a video game. You know,
everything's
and he was
just
like,
adrenaline-based.
that's not relaxing. I was like, no, it is.
It is for you.
I was like, I don't know, like, play the guitar. He was like, again, your mind's stimulating. I don't do anything that's not stimulating. So for me, I am very much...
Is that ever tiring though?
It is, yeah. I sleep like that though.
That's good.
It's a great pro. You know, some people can't sleep, but I think because I live on this constant, if I wanted to go to sleep now, I could. Because it's tiring for me to just exist through the day. It's not a task for me to be this way. This is who I am. This is Chelcee Grimes now. This is me. I'm here. I'm here, there, and everywhere. But it is, you know, it's draining sometimes. I think for me, it was that transition from football going into music, you know, still not really satisfied with that. Want a bit of TV, let me try that. I'm forever, I joke and I say, you know, I might give this all up next year and become a farmer. Who knows?
Yeah.
Because I don't.
And that's okay, isn't it?
Fine.
It's okay. I like the fact that you're breaking those boundaries though, you know, where you're not necessarily saying, well, if you're a footballer, you play football because you're really good at just that one thing. And I remember when I was growing up, my dad always used to say to me, you have to be good at a lot of things. In fact, he used to make us try and be good at most things because he said, you don't know where any of those life skills are going to come in use. So they shouldn't be, and I think it's the conditioning as we go into the education system where they want you to specialize. And I see it more and more now with kids that are struggling to identify where they think they need to fit because they should be identified as a job instead of as a person.
100%.
So do you think that you saw that a lot sooner? Like you could identify yourself as being someone that just wanted to do a lot of... You were a live wire.
You know, I sit and speak about this now and I guess it's like me USP. Like, you know, I don't just do one thing. But let me tell you, it wasn't ever easy. So many times was I told, pick one.
Yeah.
Pick one. Are you a footballer? Are you a musician? What are you? When I first, you know, I'm 19, I'm going to London. I've just signed my first big recording contract with Sony Music, and you're looking at the walls and there's Beyonce and Britney Spears and and I'm there from Liverpool going, what the hell has happened here? I was getting battered on a Sunday playing football 3 weeks ago, and I've just signed a 4-album deal with one of the biggest record labels on the planet.
Unbelievable.
But it was very quickly, you know, what I always thought, you know, I make music, I play football. And this was before it was cool. You know, you're talking, I'm saying, go back still 8-9 years ago, women's football wasn't in the place we are now. And, you know, I was told by people in music, you know, you're going to have to just drop the football now. You know, it's not cool. I was like, no, that's me. I wouldn't even be in this room if it wasn't for football. I might not have gone on to play for England. Most of the team, most of the Lionesses I know, like most of the WSL players I know, like I've played with all of them at academy level coming through, 13, 14-year-old girls. I say it all the time, even if you don't make it as a pro footballer, what that give me to go on and live my life. You can't buy it.
Yeah.
It's that, you know, we're 3-0 down at half time. Doesn't matter, we can come back. If I have a terrible day and I don't get a song cut now, or me singles are not on the playlist that I want, you know, music's forever changing. It's fine, I'm 3-0 down, I can come back, no worries. It's final whistle. And I think I live my life almost like a cup final, you know, every day. It's another minute, it's still not over. I'm looking at the clock. Well, let's go. And I would never have had that mental capacity to break it down like that if it wasn't for that. And like I said, I don't play for the Lionesses now, but I'm in a greater position for me. I love my life.
But God, if you did.
But God, if it did. That would be
Imagine
cool.
what would have
I'd
happened.
be like breaking off a half time. Sorry, girls, just got to go and do the half time anthem. I'll be back now, second half. No, listen, it's amazing what's happening now. I've got a 14-year-old sister now, and she plays football. And,
wow.
You know, for me to go, I sponsor the team and I go down on the weekend and I see this sea of little girls taking over the whole pitch, all the pitches. And when I used to play, I'd turn up and it'd just be our team and all the boys.
Yeah.
And it's so good to see. And obviously, like, just what the Lionesses have done and what women's football's doing, it is, you know, it's incredible. It's incredible, yeah.
Let's pick another word.
Okay.
And see where it takes us in terms of conversation.
Let's go with escapism.
So you very kindly just shared with us about your ADHD, and you talk a lot about your football, your music, providing with you a sense of escapism.
Yeah.
What are you running from?
I don't know if I'm running from something or still running to something. It's still very much a journey. I think for me, it's like I done a tiny bit of therapy in lockdown. Always heard the idea of therapy, never thought it was for me. I'm fine, I'm strong, look at me, I'm living the dream, I don't need therapy. You know, when lockdown hit and I was living in London at the time, away from my family, you know, I was playing football still, but I was also heavily in the music industry at that point, and I was maybe drinking a bit too much. You know, it was a complete flip-flop. Imagine I'm
for
training.
Everyone it was.
Yeah. You know, but me week was never structured. And I know I talk about how that's almost my superpower, but there's still a part of me, I think, that I like structure. I like to know what am I doing. I'm very heavily involved. I wake up and I look at my calendar. What's my week look like? It's forever changing. I like that, knowing what I'm doing. I think when lockdown hit and it was just all
static.
Yeah, it was a weird space to be in. And my mum called, she said, why don't you move back to Liverpool? I can't. You know, I'm doing this album and I'm on the telly now and things are starting to, I can't leave. And then, you know, the phone just stopped. I think, like, you know, everyone was going through the same thing. So I went back home. I ended up staying there for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I ended up staying and buying a house. And for the first time, for me, I felt like settled, calm. First time ever, I wasn't, you know, on the tubes and renting an over-expensive place and away. I had my family and my good friends, and I was like, okay, I'm going to try it. I think do a bit of therapy. Didn't tell anyone.
But what was the reason for you to get to that? Was there a tipping point, or did you were you just bored? Or
no, I think you know, it's that same thing what people say all the time. You know, you think you're going to get the money, you're going to get the nice house, you're going to get this, and you think your problems are just going to vanish. And it didn't. I was still kind of having this, like, not a safe place, not safe. I never settled, always just on the move. And I did think, what am I running from? Mm. So I just, you know, I done some therapy. It was amazing for me, really good. I stopped drinking. I done a bit of celibacy in the time. Like, I really just looked at me and
you
just
went into detox, basically.
Yeah, I went into full-blown detox. Yeah. And I got a dog. Yeah. And honestly, I think I just grew up. And I think, honestly, now my escape is going home. That, you know, maybe my escape used to be the lifestyle and the parties and the doing this and the doing that and the media. And now my escape is safe, home, dog walks, friends,
Familiarity.
family, just safety. I think for me, that's my beautiful escape now.
We do see that a lot when I was managing athletes, because when you first are exposed to not only the press, but the money, the lifestyle, it's actually quite a challenging way to live. And then to keep it up, even if your circumstances change, can also be quite a very difficult mental state. You did your therapy, you kind of found your inner peace. Okay. And you realize that's your anchor.
You know, it's difficult because imagine pretty much every time I do go into a podcast or I'm in an interview or whatever, you know, they go, Chelcee Grimes, she's this, she's this, she's this, she's this. And I think, I am all those things, but I am also just Chelcee, you know, and I really know that that's just a job for me now. Like, it's a massive part of me. But as soon as I could go, actually, I'm Chelcee and I do this, this, this and this, but that's just my job. I've seen so many people come and go through music. I mean, I've met people who I really dislike, who aren't very nice. I've met characters that I thought weren't very nice, who actually are. And I think one thing that I've found, all the best people and the most successful people who I aspire to be or really appreciate them as a people, it's just them as a person. It's nothing to do with what they've done.
Those, if you could name me two people, who would they be?
I don't want to name drop, but you are asking me to name drop.
Of course I am.
I think, I spent a lot of time with Nile Rodgers.
Yeah, I've seen that actually.
I did. I spent some time with him, and honestly,
his energy's off the scale, isn't it?
But he's just such a great human being, and he's got gorgeous stories. And I think it's funny because the least successful people I guess it's an insecurity, and that's a whole other thing. But I just think he's got a great way, and he's lived such a life of like, that's all cool, but I'm still Niall, and like I've still had my heart broken here, and I've still done this, and I still do fucked up shit. But he's a person, and I think as soon as I could take all that away and just go, that's just a job. My actual real life is when I go in my front door, I'm making me food, my dog's there, I'm feeding, like simplicity.
Yeah,
that's just what I love.
Fantastic.
Right, let's love again.
So obviously you co-wrote this with Dua Lipa.
I did.
This song resonates a lot for me on so many different levels, because I feel like it touches so many themes in terms of renewal, self-growth, resilience. As a songwriter, how do you draw that emotion, that deep emotion into a song? Like, what's the process?
So many people say, you just couldn't have an easy, I was never going to be that person who met someone at 16 and married them and had children. I don't think I'd write.
Of course it wasn't.
I don't think I would have wrote the songs I wrote. Like each song I have, and I look and they get released, it takes me back to a time when it's so true. Like every single song I'm writing, like this, I remember writing, like if you go in my notes, it's just full of titles. And this was because I think I was texting a friend, and I just started dating someone again after like my first heartbreak, like, your first big one. And you're like, I'm never gonna.
The first one's always a big one.
Again, I'm never gonna have that chemistry with someone. It's never gonna be the same. And I met someone about a year later, and I was texting a friend, and I said, oh my God, I think I'm in love again. And when I said it, and when I text it, if it looks good, usually I know it's a good title, because I'm thinking how people consume and what would I want to click on, and it looked nice, and I took it in. And it was funny because that day Dua didn't want to write a new record. We were finishing another song, and she was like, oh, I just don't know. Me and Coffee, the other songwriter, I got in and I was like, well, what about this title, Love Again? And we started just jamming it, and Dua, like I said, she wasn't really on it, and then she just like kind of perked up, and she was going through the similar thing, and it was just the energy thing. Most records, again, it takes you back to the time where you was, but it also takes you back to the energy in the room, and everything has to kind of go to plan to get
fall
that
into place.
End song. If I just would have went, what about I'm Not in Love Again? This whole song changes in one thought, and it's, I don't know, I'm not a scientist, but we all go with our gut. Having a song at the end of the day, walking in to a session, meeting someone, and by the end of that day, hoping that you all love a song that you've created and to put it out in the universe. It's crazy to see the timeline of a record, and then you've got to get the label on it, then you've got to get people to like. It's crazy.
Do you think that's your therapy?
I do. Oh my God, it's 100% therapy. I can go in, and also, you know, when you do meet someone, it's kind of like a bit like a first date. Are you going to see them again? Are you going to work with them again? Is it good? Do you like the same things? It's all got to, you know, it's also a bit of an ego thing. I've got to, you know, what's going on with your life? I've got to give a bit to get a bit back. It's quite, you know, it's not as easy as just going in, oh, let's write a song. It's a lot.
Yeah.
But, you know, that song for me still is one of my favourite songs I've ever done with Dua, and the experience of it, and just that it comes on and it still takes me back to that time when I was just finding my feet again and jumping back into things, as we say. So yeah,
it's nice that you can have those kind of positive triggers as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's some bad ones. Don't get me wrong. There's some bad ones. Here we go, fear.
Yeah. So this is where I was first introduced to Chelcee Grimes, really, because I watched you on Freeze the Fear, and oh my God, you blew me away, because out of all the people that were there, and you know, there were some incredible individuals, you know, from Patrice Evra to Gabby Logan to Tamsin Outhwaite. Yeah. And I couldn't quite fathom how focused and how just fearless you were. Is that Chelcee Grimes? Is that Chelcee Grimes in front of the cameras? Is that Chelcee Grimes with some of Wim Hof's tutoring?
I think
who is it?
I do think it was obviously Wim a lot. I watch myself now when I'm trying to show me mates, like they'll be like, I can't believe you done that. I don't want to say, if you're going to watch the show, I think you can still watch it on the iPlayer, but at the end there's a big jump anyway, that's all I'll say. And I can't believe I done that.
What was your self-talk? Because I saw the bit where they capture you walking to the bridge, and then you can kind of sense there's some, and of course there would be some nerves going on there.
And also, can I just say, this is the power of TV. They've not made it look like I was the first to go on TV. I guess I didn't have a big enough dramatic
and you
reaction.
Were the first.
I was chosen first to go because Wim said they knew if she'd do it, the rest
everybody
would follow.
Else. Wow, how did you feel about that?
I mean, listen, Tamsin Outhwaite, Gabby Logan. For me, I grew up idolising Gabby Logan as well. She was the one woman who you'd see in sport next to all the guys. It was, I guess for me, like the only one you'd see on TV pretty much all the time throughout athletics and football and everything. So I was just buzzing that I was sharing a room with her, if I'm honest. And then for him to think that, like, because Gabby was adamant she wasn't doing that. And I can get it, you know, they all had children. I didn't have kids. I was kind of like the young one on the show. And, you know, but again, I think I had a bit of internal pressure because I was thinking, oh, they all think I'm going to do it. Shit, what if I don't do it? I'll have to do it. But I really, really, really wanted to do that. I do not like heights at all. I was terrified. But when you watch that clip, and I still get messages about it today, can't remember it. Wim was next to me. I just remember hearing him talk, and I literally wink.
You did?
And do the, like, who am I? That's not me. That is not, so I know.
I saw that because that like on the program, you kind of see this almost walk of fear to the bridge, and you know your nerves are showing there evidently, but then, and understandably as well, and then you get to the bridge and it's like this different person's just emerged, and then all of a sudden, and I'm sure the music and the way they kind of show it is, you know, it's all heightened, but you wink and then it's like it's just let go, and I thought, wow,
that's Wim.
She's unbelievable.
I think that's Wim. It had to be. That would never have happened. But
are you fearless now?
You know, I still think about that. Whenever I get a bit frightened of anything, I think if I've done that, that's piece of cake. Like that for me still is in my mind. Like I would never have done that. And I've done that with such ease.
You really did.
So I know I can do pretty much anything. Yeah,
amazing.
It did give me impact.
You've done quite a lot in your careers, all of the different careers. Do you think you've got to the point where you have created enough of an impact? What do you want your legacy to be? What's the thought process for Chelcee in the next 10, 20 years?
For me, it sounds like cliche or whatever, but my mum was actually sitting over there. She's like my best friend. I love her. It's been me and her for pretty much all of our lives, and still we like pinch ourselves when I take my mum anywhere and we get to do cool stuff. She's just like, can you believe this, Chel? Like, you know, it's just mad. But for me, you know, all the success and whatever, it's great, and the accolades, and I can say I'm a Grammy nominated songwriter, something I never thought I'd be able to say. Like,
exactly.
From no experience, left school at 16, didn't have a clue about music. That's all I ever wanted. About 2 years ago, once I started like getting enough money to feel secure, I let my mum leave, and now my mum works with me, and like, we just spend every day together pretty much, and it's just...
And she loves it, doesn't she?
She loves it, and it's honestly the best thing I've ever done. Like, you can take any accolade away from me. The fact that like I've give my mum like a nicer life and just give back a bit to her, and that's for me is me biggest accomplishment, that she doesn't have to stack
got a bit
shelves.
Emotional there.
Oh, because I used to see her, you know, she had 4 jobs at once, and you know, when I was a kid, and she'd had to sell her cars, and you know, don't forget, my mum was a widow at a very young age. She had a 5-year-old, and you know, I can't even imagine I lose one partner after like 2 years. I'm not have to write a song about it. Like, I'm that distraught. So
but she was telling me earlier about how your father got shot.
Yeah,
and he was holding you.
Yeah, it's honestly, I'll write a book one day, because I think, you know, I speak about it, you know, softly, but what she's been through, and like for me to just be able to go, come and enjoy now.
Love
there you
that.
go. It's just, for me, that's the best thing I've ever done. So that's the biggest impact I think I'd have. So yeah, but my sister's like waiting now. When can I leave? I'm like, no, you're going to work.
Yeah.
So yeah,
we are going to wrap up.
Is this the last one?
Yeah, we're going to wrap up because we are just about running out of time. So thank you so much for your energy and just the fact that you've shared all those really precious moments with us. I'm sure our listeners and viewers have found that really, really interesting, and they'll take forward some of those lessons, and it will help them on their journey of self-discovery. Thank you, Chelcee,
for having me. Honestly, that's basically like another therapy session I can put in my bag. So
that.
thank you. Lovely to see you.
All right.